What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Kings related podcast and this post game recap of another Kings loss as they are now 0-2 on this 6-game road trip. Thank you, as always, for joining me for another edition of the show. And if you enjoy this podcast, make sure you give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your audio podcasts on whatever platform you prefer. We're also available on YouTube, so be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. It's another slide for your Sacramento Kings as they drop their 5th straight game on this Sunday matinee game in frozen Detroit, Michigan, which is the 4th losing streak of 5 games or more for this team through the first 47 games of this season. And simply the Sacramento Kings could not slow down the Pistons as they allow 136 points in this loss, and 139-116. And the bright spots for the Kings in this game were rookie Nique Clifford, who started this game in place of the injured Zach LaVine, who was out with back soreness. And I thought he was aggressive to start this game. And we talked about his defense. We know what he can bring defensively, but I thought offensively in this game, I thought he was solid offensively in this game for the Kings, and more aggressiveness from Clifford as we get towards the end of this season, which will be really good to see from the development of Clifford for this season. And the Pistons today, they recorded a season best 78 points in the first half, but give the Kings credit. They scored 65 points in the first half, and a somewhat mini U for Sacramento because neither team played great defense in this game. And the Pistons today, they were led by Cade Cunningham, who ended this game with 29 points, 11 assists, and 5 rebounds, going 13 of 22 shooting from the field. Sacramento, they shot 52% from the field as a team, but they allowed Detroit to shoot 54%, including 16 of 31 from the 3-ball. That's not going to cut it, and it's not good enough. And conceding, the Kings, they conceded 26 second chance points off of 16 offensive rebounds and committed 19 turnovers. Those were the shortcomings for this team in this matinee game as they suffered their 5th straight loss this afternoon. And I don't think fans freaking out over that 4-game winning streak that we had, a week ago. I don't think we're freaking out now, because in this game between Sacramento and Detroit, defense for both teams was optional in this matinee game for both teams. So neither team played great. So just some of the highlights from individual standouts. Domantas Sabonis is rounding into shape as he got the start for Doug Christie and Sacramento today, but he did pick up 2 early fouls in the first 2 minutes of this basketball game. But then Domas settled in and he continued to show that he is healthy and ready for major minutes as we get towards the trade deadline and the end of this regular season. And this afternoon, Sabonis, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists in just 25 minutes of action. Nique Clifford, again, got the start in in replace for Zach LaVine, and I thought he was solid with that starting group in this game against a physical Detroit Pistons team, and he put up a quality game start in that starting lineup. Again, he was aggressive on the offensive end of the floor, especially in that first half for Sacramento, and he finished this game 15 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. Progress is being made with this rookie, and for some rookies, it takes time for the game to slow down, and it seems like for Clifford, the game is slowing down for him here in game 47 of this season. And last year in college, Nique Clifford played 36 games, so he's already surpassed the amount of games that he played last season in college. We had a Keon Ellis sighting in Detroit, and Keon, who had a knee injury that kept him out with the last 2 games, and then he was a healthy scratch for the following 3 games after that injury. And with Zach out, Keon, he got the call off the bench, and I thought Keon played really well as he dropped 14 points on 5 for 9 shooting. Not bad for Keon Ellis after a 10 to an 11-day absence of not playing for this team, and who knows when we'll see him again, as he's been all over those trade rumors for Sacramento. At least 10 teams in the NBA are interested in Keon, so we'll see where things go as we get closer to the February 5th deadline. Malik Monk. What could have been? Because Malik Monk was a target of this Detroit Pistons team, a few summers ago for a trade. And despite this lopsided score this afternoon, Malik Monk put on an absolute show in Detroit. And Malik had multiple posters, dunks in this game. He was 3 of 5 from the 3 ball, on his way to 19 points. Russell Westbrook and Dennis Strudel were backcourt in this game. Both of them couldn't hold on to that basketball in the game. Russell, 4 turnovers in this game. Strudel had 6 turnovers, and the Kings as a team turned the ball over 19 times as a basketball team, which led to 28 Detroit Pistons points, and that simply was the game. Quite frankly, the Sacramento Kings could not slow down this Detroit Pistons team, and Pistons team that's leading the Eastern Conference right now at the top of the standings, and what most consider a wide open Eastern Conference this season. But again, some of those bright spots in this game. Nique Clifford, really good game. And as I mentioned, it looks like the game is slowing down for him as we are 47 games into his rookie season. So that's good to see from the rookie. But it was Cade Cunningham who absolutely had a game, who came into this afternoon's game, struggling shooting the basketball. There was no struggle for Cunningham against the Sacramento Kings as he put on a absolute show for the Detroit Pistons and the fans on the home court. So Kings lose. They are now 12-34 on the season. And up next, they go to New York to take on the Knicks, a Knicks team who you just beat, a week or 2 ago in Sacramento. So we'll see. The Knicks looking for a little revenge on their part. But again, tonight, the Sacramento Kings, they were unable to maintain an offensive pace in the second half, while the Detroit Pistons, they ramped it up in the second half. And with Jalen Duren for the Pistons off the floor, Cunningham simply went to his two-man game with Beef Stew. And while the Detroit shooters spaced that basketball floor, Cade Cunningham absolutely picked apart this vanilla ice Kings defense with ease, increasing his individual scoring output in this game. And this is a Pistons team that's going to be a really tough out in the playoffs with the brand of basketball that they play. They're physical and they get up into you, and they lead the league in blocks and in steals. So not a good recipe if you're playing this team in a 7-game series. So some other stats from this basketball game. The Kings, they allowed the Pistons to record season high in scoring this season. But the Kings were in need of some sort of defensive spark, but they started the third by committing 2 fouls by Russell in 24 seconds. Not great at all. And then the Pistons went on an 8-0 run that forced Sacramento to call another timeout. And the Kings, they had 1 timeout remaining after 3 quarters. And then at the 8:03 mark in the fourth, the Kings did not have any timeouts remaining in this game. So absolutely incredible. The Pistons in that third quarter, they dominated the third quarter. They scored 34 points in the third, a mark that they have reached in each frame to this point of the season. They were 14 of 20 in that third quarter, and the Kings were down double digits with 12 minutes left to play. But quite frankly, this game was over after the first quarter. After the first, it was tied at 35 apiece. And then from the second quarter on, this game was over because the Detroit Pistons, they ramped it up in the second quarter, and then they really ramped it up in the second half of this game. So Kings are now on this 6-game road trip. Up next, they got the New York Knicks, which they will fly to New York tomorrow if they can, with all the weather situations happening across the country. So we'll see if they fly out tomorrow. And then after New York, they have a back-to-back with Philadelphia and the Boston Celtics. And then they finish this road trip in Washington against the Wizards. So the Kings fall in Detroit. They are now 12-34 on this season. And we will be back for another post-game recap Tuesday following the Knicks game. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasts. We are a video podcast on Spotify and on YouTube. So by all means, please catch the video feed, hit that subscribe button, hit that notify bell, hit the thumbs up, and thank you as always for joining me on this Kings related podcast and the post game recap. We'll see you Tuesday following the Kings and the Knicks, and as always, go Kings.